All right, welcome everyone to How to Get Involved in Research for STEM undergrads. My name is Sarah Stinson. I am an advisor and program coordinator at the Undergraduate Research Center, and I'm also a PhD candidate in the Ecology graduate group. And we're gonna go ahead and go through basics on how to get involved. So this is very first steps in your journey for getting involved in research on campus. I also have two assistants here who are going to be helping me respond to chat messages. So feel free to add a question in chat while I'm talking. We're also going to leave a lot of time at the end for question and answer. So if you think of questions as we're going through, feel free to pop those in the chat, but otherwise, please leave your microphones muted. So what is the URC? Hopefully some of you have already done a little web browsing and checked out our website, which is amazing and has a ton of resources for all different majors. But if you haven't, then just pop over to urc.ucdavis.edu and check it out. Our mission statement is to encourage and facilitate research opportunities for undergrads at UC Davis. So to promote that, we have a lot of different awards, fellowships, activities, events like this one today to help you in your journey here at UC Davis. So we are here to help you. And hopefully you can find a lot of useful stuff on that website. So a lot of UC Davis students are involved in research, and this statistic is a little bit outdated now. It's from 2017, but as you can see, UC Davis students from all different majors and departments have some sort of research experience during their academic career. And that can vary depending on who you are. If you're a transfer student, you may end up joining research later in your time at UC Davis. So everyone's journey is a little bit different in that. However, it's a great idea to not only gain experience, but to explore what your interests are, because part of why you're here is to figure out what you want to do with your professional and academic lives beyond your undergraduate career. So research can take many forms, and that can include surveys and interviews, data analysis, laboratory bench work, field work, archive work, modeling, and computation, as well as design projects. So not all of those may fit what your mental image of research is. However, there are a lot of different ways to do research. So I want to remind everyone that research comes in all different forms. And as well, I just wanted to quickly point out that there are many types of research that fall outside of STEM. So it's important to recognize that research is also design, creative arts, creative writing, film production. I didn't include, oh yeah, dance and movement is on there as well, studio. So even if you are a STEM major, you can participate in research that falls outside of STEM. So a lot of people are interested in multidisciplinary projects. And don't be afraid to explore some more creative aspects to research as well. So what kind of careers and jobs involve research? Not just being a professor. So you may have, again, an image of a researcher as being someone who is devoted to an academic career, a professor, a research associate, scientific researcher in a laboratory. However, that is just a very small tip of the iceberg. So research is an important skill set in a lot of different professional careers, and those range from academia, as we mentioned, but also anything from scientific writing and communication, public policy, entrepreneurship, etc. So that is good to keep in mind, because I know a lot of people in STEM come from different backgrounds and may have a variety of career aspirations, not just in academia. It's also more than just getting that rec letter, although that is an important part of it, right? So maybe you're thinking ahead and you're thinking about your professional career, your maybe grad school is in your future, maybe not, but you're thinking about how you can best prepare yourself to be a competitive applicant for that future goal. So that's also important, getting that rec letter, but Additionally, you can earn credit by doing research. So it's not just volunteer positions. You can also earn academic credit. You can, of course, gain skill sets that will be important later. And not just skill sets in the narrow field of the research that you perform in one particular internship, but also some transferable skills that can benefit you in a wide variety of disciplines as well. So, for example, critical thinking, analytical skills, those transcend a lot of different disciplines. You can also gain insight into career possibilities that you didn't even know were a possibility, right? So maybe you started out as a freshman here at Davis and you didn't even know that aquatic toxicology was something that existed. And then you took a course and you talked to the professor and you learned, wow, there's an entire field and you could get a career at the Environmental Protection Agency working on water quality issues, or working in the government on improving water policy. I'm using that example because my background is in aquatic tox, but there are a lot of other disciplines as well that would be transferable too. Leadership and teamwork experience, right? So that is also a very transferable skill. So no matter what your research experience looks like, when you do gain that experience at UC Davis, you can still use that in a lot of other ways. And of course, connecting with faculty, right? So that is something we're going to talk about a lot in the next few slides. But don't forget that this is also a way to connect with your community. So this is a way for you to meet new people who share your interests and create your own professional and personal community. That's an important part of this process. So takes more than a major, right? So you're taking a bunch of classes that are extremely relevant to your research interests, but beyond that, there are many employers who think that thinking critically, communicating clearly, and solving complex problems is actually more important than your undergraduate major. Don't freak out by that. That's actually a great thing because it means that, let's say, you started in a particular major, but you find this incredible career opportunity that overlaps slightly with what your undergrad major was, but you're concerned you won't be a competitive applicant because it wasn't an exact fit with what your undergraduate major was. Well, you can actually take a lot of those transferable skills, and those may in fact be more important to a potential employer than what the piece of paper says. So for example, when I was an undergrad, I wanted to go to vet school. And so I was very focused on taking pre-vet sort of courses. And then after I graduated, I got some real world experience in working in small animal clinics and research settings, and decided that, nope, that was not the right fit for me. But because of my varied experiences, it actually made me a really competitive candidate for grad school. So when is it a good time to do research? Again, your journey is not comparable to anyone else's. If you're a transfer student, if you are in a non-traditional situation, you may not start your research interest until later in your undergrad career. Totally fine. You don't need to start day one of freshman fall quarter. Some people do, and that's great. However, you should start when you're ready. So that means that not only are you interested, but you're also going to be able to handle your coursework on top of your responsibilities in whatever that research experience position looks like. This is an example here, maybe 6 to 10 weeks, or 6 to 10 hours per week. Ooh, 6 to 10 weeks. That would be something to consider when you're planning to get involved in research, is maybe, do you have that type of time available in your schedule? Could you take on that project and be responsible and not overwhelm yourself? Because especially at the beginning of your undergrad career, it can be a little overwhelming. You're navigating the system, everything's online, so it's a little bit different maybe, but still can be a bit overwhelming. You can also explore other opportunities like the CURES program, and I put the link here, but it's not an interactive hyperlink, so maybe if someone could put that in the chat box, that would be great. You can go ahead and check out this opportunity. So it's basically a course for undergraduates. It's a seminar style course, and it gives you a snapshot of different research experiences. So this may be a good thing for you to start with, and that is for all different majors. All right, so this is why you're here, right? How can you get involved? What does that look like? First, you want to check out the URC website. We have a ton of resources available for you. Much like this event that we're in now, we have recordings from previous events. We have very helpful links. I would highly advise you to take a little bit of time and search through the website and see what you can find out with just a quick search. So workshops are available. We have a ton of upcoming workshops later in the week as part of Undergraduate Research Week, which is my virtual background right now. So check out the schedule of events for the upcoming events this week. If you missed any or you can't attend any because of schedule conflicts, don't worry, they will be posted on our website as well as on our YouTube channel. So you will have access to this event and the other events online. Things are a little bit different right now because we are 100% remote. So we have our Discovery Cafe series, which is similar to our small group advising. So we are going to be hosting future Discovery Cafe events outside and beyond Research Week. So stay posted. And those will be posted on our website, but they're also on our social media accounts. So if you are someone who's interested in social media, that's a great way to get notified of upcoming events and also to connect with your peers. Oh, and also there are a ton of awards and funding opportunities available on the website. So I want to specifically mention those. If you go to our main page, you can just look up awards and funding, and there are some upcoming deadlines that you should pay attention to if you are interested in that. And I have a slide on that later on. So I'm sure some of you have heard these, what I'm calling research myths, right? So we have some preconceived ideas of what research looks like, but these are not true at UC Davis. You can do research outside of your major. You can present preliminary data at a research conference. And those actually, I think, are the main ones that I wanted to highlight, because I get a lot of questions from students in advising appointments about those particular topics. So you can do research with any faculty member on campus. It doesn't have to be someone who is housed within your department, or it doesn't have to be research related to your major. And when you are ready, when you have any sort of preliminary data, the timing of when you get that data may not match up with when the research conference is that you're hoping to present at. So don't be afraid to present your preliminary data at those conferences. We have an amazing conference every year at the Undergraduate Research Center. So that's also on our website. So please check that out when you have a minute. I think the dates have not been posted yet. Am I right, Dee? I think it's to be announced. If there are dates, maybe, oh, you're muted still. Oh, you're muted again.
We have dates for the conference. It's going to be April 30th and May 1st.
Thank you. April 30th to May 1st. So make a mental note of that. And if you do have preliminary data by then, by our application deadline, then please participate. It's a great way to get started. It'll add presentation experience to your CV or resume. It's a very friendly and supportive place to present your research as well. We did a virtual event this last May in spring of 2020. It was very successful. We had a really great turnout. The student research was amazing and very interesting to go through and interact with. And you can also network there. So you may find a research project that you're super excited to learn more about, and you can contact that student presenter and maybe get an internship in that lab just from that one couple of days. All right, so some of these are busted. So how can you get started? All right, so here is a very short list. This list is not comprehensive, but it's a good place to start. So keep a running list of your research interests. So when you take that seminar, when you're in the lecture and the professor mentions something, it really piques your interest, pay attention to that, because those are the sort of things that you're going to want to spend your time working on. If you are bored out of your mind by a particular topic in a lecture, maybe that's not where you want to spend the rest of your professional life. So pay attention to the sorts of research that really, really piques your interest. Um, we have our conference abstract book available from previous years of our undergraduate research conference. And I think maybe somebody could post that in the chat box. That would be great. That's a great place to look. So look through what sort of research is already being done currently by undergrads, by your peers on campus at UC Davis. There's a ton of different research out there, and it's very interesting. So take a quick look through that. Don't be afraid to ask questions. You do not have to be an expert in your field to get started in research. That's why you're here, is to learn those skills. So a lot of people have what's often called imposter syndrome. So you may feel like, I don't have enough experience. I don't know enough about that to really be competitive for that opportunity, whatever that opportunity is. It's not true. Don't sell yourself short. Everyone feels that way at the beginning. So be sure to take a leap and contact that faculty person if you have an interest. Everyone starts somewhere, so don't think you can't do it. There's a great event coming up on imposter syndrome tomorrow as well. So if that's something that you're interested in learning more about, I encourage you to participate. Interview people. That can be faculty, but that's not only faculty. That could also be your TAs in a course. Graduate students are great resources for learning more about a particular area of interest in research. If you're interested in going to grad school, I highly recommend you talk to graduate students who are currently in your program that you're interested in. Even if you're not interested in Davis for grad school, you can still get a sense of what their responsibilities are like, what the program is like, how they move through that program, whatever it is. Read about your potential career paths. So if you decide that you want to be the director of a laboratory system, then you should know what that person actually does. Is that person actually in the lab pipetting? Probably not. The director is going to have other responsibilities. So they may be interviewing with press, they may be developing new grant proposals, other things like that. So it's good to explore what your day-to-day experience would be in a particular career. And also, if you don't already have a resume or a CV, get started on one. Don't be scared to get started, even if you feel like it's not competitive or you haven't gotten a lot of experience yet. Just get something down on paper, get it started. And there are a number of great resources for students to help you in that process. So you can visit the Internship and Career Center, and they also have workshops on preparing your resume or CV. So you can get some guided help with that, with that there, or also with the URC as well. Okay. Right. So what interests you? What do you like? What do you nerd out about? Right. So what do you end up scrolling through on the internet late at night? Like, is it birds? Is it pictures of fish? Is it whatever it is? Chemistry. So what really piques your interest? And there are a lot of opportunities in research that are not strictly bench work in a laboratory or field work, or those other opportunities that I mentioned earlier. So modeling and computation or design, whatever that is. There are many opportunities that are integrative. So you may find that you love doing bench work, but you love going out in the field as well. And for me personally, I strive to find a balance between those. So I want to have a career where I can have both of those interests satisfied. And it doesn't mean you have to choose one, but you may also learn from what you don't like. So let's say you get an internship position that's all data entry and modeling, and you decide, I really miss the field work. I miss going outside. I'd rather do that. Great, you learned something. So even a negative experience, or I shouldn't say negative, but as an experience where you learn what you don't like is equally as valuable as where you learn what you do like. So don't forget to pay attention to them. And also, what's your work environment? What would your ideal work environment be like? Do you want to work by yourself? You can listen to your favorite murder podcasts alone in the dark in the lab all night. Great. It's not for me, but somebody loves it. Or do you want to be on a team? Do you want to be out in the field from a socially distanced 6 feet right now, I guess? All right, so here are some prompts that you might ask a faculty member, a particular contact that you've made in a department, a graduate student, or even your undergraduate peers. So these are some example questions. This is not a comprehensive list, of course, but these are things that can get you thinking about what you are going to enjoy in that particular research environment. And hopefully that'll help you in your academic future and your professional future as well. So I won't read them all because it's a long list. And I'm sure you'll think of others that are more specific to your field of interest as well. But always helpful. And especially if you are interested in graduate school, you can target questions about the graduate experience to a graduate student in that field. So how do you find a faculty mentor? This is, I think, the most highly asked question, most frequently asked question in advising appointments is, how do I even approach a faculty person? I'm overwhelmed, I feel intimidated, I don't know what to say. So a good place to start, not the only place, but a good place, is to go to your departmental website and look for their list of active faculty. I've pulled up the UC Davis Department of Chemistry here, and as you can see, it's even just one of the drop downs in the Google search. Every department is going to look a little bit different, but they should all have a list of faculty. And most faculty will also have some information about what research interests appeal to them, what they're currently researching. Some faculty are a little more technologically savvy than others. So you may find that some only have a few sentences about their research interests, and others may have entire websites and social media and links about what they focus on in that lab. So I encourage you to go down the rabbit hole of searching the faculty website. Often they'll be listed alphabetically. Some departments, I believe you can also search by keywords. I'm not sure if all of them you can, but start with your own department maybe, and then explore outside of your department. Again, a lot of people do interdisciplinary research, especially in ecology. It's extremely interdisciplinary. So don't be afraid to search outside of your home department. And great, so you go through, you read about somebody, you get really excited about one project perhaps on their website. Start making a list. So you're going to write down their name, you're going to write down whatever information you are interested in from their website, from the departmental website, and then hopefully you can compile a list of 8 to 10 potential faculty members. The more potential faculty you can list, statistically, your likelihood of getting that research internship goes up. However, you don't want to just blast all of them with some anonymous email that looks like spam, right? So you want to make any contact with faculty as personal as possible and include specific keywords from their research papers, from their website, that shows them that you did a lot of research to understand what their interests are, what their lab is focused on, and not that you just emailed 100 people randomly hoping to get a response. In any of your emails, of course, you want to have good etiquette. And then actually an important follow-up is to send them an email a week or two later, perhaps, and say, I really appreciate, if they responded, say, I appreciate your response, even if it was a no. It's always good to keep that door open in case future opportunities arise. But also sometimes faculty don't respond right away. They're busy with their teaching obligations, their research schedule. So if you haven't heard anything, it's okay to follow up in an email that says, politely, hello, I emailed you a week ago. I just want to make sure you received the email. I'm still very interested. Thank you very much. So what does that email look like? You always want to use their title. So Hey Joe is probably not the appropriate way to begin your email, even if you are on a first name basis with that professor. Let's say you take a course from them and they tell you, call me Joe. You may want to choose to take this more polite approach in your email because it's more professional. So that would be my recommendation, but of course it's up to you. Um, Tell them who you are. So if they have never met you, this is a cold call sort of email, then tell them your class level, your major, and what you're specifically interested in. So not just, I want to get a rec letter or I want research experience. It's important to say, I want experience in this particular field. And maybe you don't know what that is yet. That's fair. But maybe there's a particular aspect of their research that you can emphasize in the email. Um, it's always good to include your resume, even if they don't ask for it, because if they do respond and there is a position available, they're going to ask for it. So save them the extra 5 seconds of typing out the question and just slap the CV on the attachment of the email. And then here is the overview of what we just talked about. So first, make a list. Make a list of possibilities. Look at conference abstracts, departmental websites, research papers. So one really important part of that little sleuthing and internet rabbit hole is to go further. So look at that faculty person's publication record. Look at the publications that they list on their website as relevant, because that may be a subset of their publications that they're most interested in advertising. So let's say they have a very established research program and they have 200 publications in their CV. How do you decide which one is what they're working on currently? Well, sometimes, hopefully, they may have that on their website. So target those sorts of publications and then read them. You don't have to understand everything in the publication in order to talk to them about what they do. So a lot of papers have very field-specific jargon. So you may not yet have learned those words because you're still taking all the coursework that will prepare you for publication in that field, but you can still get a general idea of what their research is about. And feel free to ask questions. So don't be shy about asking a clarifying question about a paper. I read your paper on environmental DNA metabarcoding, and I don't understand exactly what your lab work was about, but I'm interested in the concept. Where can I find more information about this? What are some papers that I could get started reading to learn more about that field? And they may be able to help you with that process. Talk to TAs and grad students, peer advisors, undergrad researchers. We also have an amazing group at the URC of undergraduate ambassadors, research ambassadors. So I encourage you to check out any events that the undergraduate research ambassadors have, because those are going to be peers in your field who have experience in research, who can give you their experiences getting involved. So we're all remote. It's a little bit different right now because we can't just knock on the office door of that faculty person whose class we took. You can't just wait after lecture to talk to them necessarily. So you may still be able to have some one-on-one communication with them if they offer virtual office hours or if they have TAs who have office hours. So that's a good place to start because one-on-one in-person communication is always best. However, there's other opportunities to connect. So that could be a research group meeting. So your department or your major may have opportunities where you can attend seminars. I know with the ecology grad group, we have weekly seminars available. And even though those are targeted at grad students, undergrads are welcome to attend. So you may have an amazing networking opportunity where you're one of 5 undergrads who participate in this seminar and the rest are grad students and faculty. So a way to get involved may be to sign up for the listservs that are available in your major and see what sorts of research groups are open. Let's see here. Literature reviews. Some of you are probably taking courses or have taken courses where you're learning about primary literature and how to appropriately cite and research literature, I encourage you to continue that exploration or start it if you're just starting your research career, because this is going to play a major role in your academic career in STEM. So that is something to keep an eye on if you see any workshops or classes that help you with that process. But you can also do it on your own. So you can go to Google Scholar or wherever you're getting your primary literature. Also, watching online tutorials, webinars. UC Davis has some amazing video options. So if you go to, I think it's video.ucdavis.edu, there are lectures available from different classes. So even if you're not signed up for that particular course, you can view lectures from a topic or a course that interests you. Or maybe you're thinking about taking that course next quarter, and you can get a little bit of a glimpse into that professor or that course, for example. And then I have a couple more slides on online opportunities, so I'll skip ahead here. Safety training. So in most situations, in most majors of STEM, you will be working in an in-person situation where you will have to have safety training. You don't have to wait you don't have to wait until you find the research opportunity to get started on safety training. As someone who's hired a lot of undergrads for our lab, it's so nice when an undergraduate student sends me their safety training certificate along with their information. So let's say they send me an introductory letter, or they send my PI the letter and then he sends it to me, however that happens. But it's really nice when they already are one step ahead of me and they know what needs to be done before they can work in the laboratory or wherever you're working. Could be in the field or another research environment. But you can just go online and do the basics. So UC Laboratory Safety Fundamentals is going to be about an hour-long course. You just log on, and the link is here. Maybe we could also put it in the chat. That would be great. If you've never logged on or done any safety training, you may have to email sdps@ucdavis.edu, which is listed at the bottom of the slide, for them to set up your account. You may get an error message that won't allow you to access the site. I know that used to be a problem with some students in our lab, so keep that in mind. You can also learn technical skills online. So there's great resources for that. One of them is jove.com. You can type in whatever technical skill you're looking for. So how do I extract DNA or whatever it is? And they will give you a protocol, written protocol, and also a video that goes along with that. So you can do a little bit of background into the techniques that are used by the lab that you're interested in. And then you can show up to that interview or show up virtually to that interview and already say, I don't have hands-on experience with this. However, I've taken the time to learn this skill that I know that you require in your lab. So I have some basic understanding of the technique, but I have questions about it. Then that starts a conversation, and that can be a really great lead-in to getting that research position. And lastly, I just want to shout out that there are so many programs, fellowships, and award opportunities for undergraduates to help you get research experience. I know it's really difficult for students because not everyone can afford to just volunteer. So you may need to have a paid position or financial support in order for you to do research. That is normal, and you should be supported in that. So check out all these awards. You may be eligible for some of these opportunities, and that could really not only support you financially, but there are also programs that will help pair you with a research mentor in your field. And also they're great lines on your CV. So if you can say, you know, I received this publication award, then that looks really great on your resume or your CV for later. So all the deadlines are listed on the website. And especially I want to mention that there are programs that are really great programs for helping students connect with mentorship and financial support who come from underserved communities. So I encourage you to check out these particular programs, the McNair Scholars Program, UC Camp, UC MERPS, and UC Leeds. So take a minute to look at those because you may be eligible for some mentorship and financial support that you didn't even know you were eligible for. And these, it sounds like these are awesome programs. And I'm sure that if you have questions about them, the URC staff would be more than happy to answer your questions. If you send us an email, that would be the easiest way to get in touch with us. And if you are super excited about learning more about this, there's actually another event tomorrow. I believe it's at 2:10 to learn more about some of these programs. So if you are unable to attend in person, you can also watch the recording later, but that's going to happen tomorrow. So it might be a great way to get any questions answered or to hear other students' questions. And that, and the deadline, I think I'm missing a picture here. I think this is the Camp and MERPS deadline at the bottom. So those are coming up. So just pay attention to when those are. Oh, here it is. Okay. And then that just tells you some of the required parts of the application that you might want to plan ahead for. And that is coming up pretty soon. So don't be shy, reach out to us. We're here to help you. We're here to facilitate your experience at UC Davis. Even though we're not going to do in-person advising, we still are available online, and we're going to have a ton of these informative sessions. So hopefully you can attend some, or if not all of them, or watch the videos. But if you still have questions that are unanswered from that, then you can always reach out and contact us. A couple of things just to close and wrap up with. Don't get frustrated if it takes a minute to find what you're looking for. So it's easy to get really discouraged if you send an email to a faculty person, for example, and they say, sorry, no, we're not taking students. Just keep trying. The more you try, the more likely it is that you'll connect with the perfect situation for you. And also don't compare your experience to other students. So just because your roommate got a position fall quarter of freshman year does not mean that that's the best path for you, or that you will have missed out on anything because you didn't find that. So I think it's important just to leave with that reminder. And it's good to go out of your comfort zone. So if you're a little nervous about sending that email to the faculty person because you're like a super fan of their research, that's a great sign. It means that you found something that really excites you, and you may risk the fact that they may not have an opportunity for undergrads at the moment, but really you're not going to lose anything by sending that email, right? They either have an opportunity or they don't. So I encourage everybody to step out of your comfort zone and take that first step, even if it's a little bit scary for you. And also check us out on social media. I know I said that before, but I do a lot of the social media for the URC, so I think I'm obligated to plug it. We're also having a meme contest this week. So if you're already involved in research, or if you've done some research either in your previous community college or wherever you came from, your high school, whatever your situation was, you can make it specific to your previous experience. It can also be about your research interests that you're hoping to have at UC Davis. So check it out, and you can win lots of fun prizes. I think all the information is available on our website, which is listed down here. And then with that, I'm sure that there are a ton of questions in the chat box that I have not been looking at while I've been talking. So it looks like some of them got answered. Yeah, so I'm just going to scroll through here and see what people's questions were. Should we send safety training certificates with a resume in the first email? I would say it's not going to hurt anything. I would say it shows that you're prepared and you understand what the prerequisites are for doing research in that laboratory. You could also just mention it in the text of the email. You don't necessarily have to link it as a file. You could say, I've completed the UC laboratory safety fundamentals, and I can do any other required training before I start in the lab. Something like that would also be good. Do letters of rec from faculty include only UC Davis faculty? It depends on which opportunity you're referencing. And I think, so maybe if you're talking about camp or MERPS, then I believe that you can have a reference that was from a previous college. Is that right, Dee? She's going to type it in, I think.
Yes, because sometimes there's transfer students and it's just getting started. So in cases, depending on the program, they can include a letter from their community college or the college that they transferred from.
Great. Yeah. And then let's see here. How do we know when we're ready to participate in research? That's a great question. It's going to vary depending on your personal assessment of where you're at in your academic career. So you want to find a balance between taking advantage of the opportunities that are available at UC Davis, but also sleeping and eating and taking care of your mental health. That's a high priority. So if you feel overwhelmed and stressed by the idea of committing 5 hours a week to something outside of your coursework, then maybe that's not a good time for you. And it's going to depend on the quarter too. So a lot of times you may have a heavier course load in one quarter where you have courses that are only available during that quarter and you're obligated to take those intense required courses. That may not be the right time either. There's also research available in the summer. So if you have availability in the summer, if you're here in Davis or if you're working remotely, you may be able to find a summer opportunity that fits your schedule better. And because the research experience looks so different depending on whose lab you're in, what your interests are, how much time you're committing, it's hard to say. I would say it's worth giving it a shot and trying it out because you're here and you have all these amazing resources. So I think it's better to take a risk and try. However, you want to be careful not to overextend yourself. So take care of yourself first, but if you can, definitely at least reach out and talk to someone about what the commitment would be like. It's good to be clear when you speak with faculty or grad students or lab managers or whoever you're communicating with. Be honest about what your commitment availability is. So if you know that you can't commit more than 5 hours, don't say, yeah, sure, I'll do 20 hours a week just so that you can get your foot in the door. It's not going to end well for anyone because you won't be able to commit the quality of work that you want for this position, and then they won't get what they were asking for. So just be honest with them. And I think clear communication is key in a lot of different research experiences in all different majors and disciplines. Um, will the research opportunity be more like a class? Or will it show in our transcript? It depends on the lab. Yeah, so you can get a transcript notation. That's one option, and you can also um, get research credit. It could also be a situation where you begin in your position as a volunteer, and that may transition into a paid position or research credit after you've been with that lab for one quarter. My PI prefers to start students as volunteers, and then once they've stuck around for a quarter, then he has them either move into paid positions or gives them research credit or unit credit, I should say. Yeah, so it'll depend. And that's a good thing to communicate with the faculty person about. It may be something that they list on their website too. A lot of times they will have that information on their website, and that can be really helpful. We've got a few more minutes, so if anybody has more questions, keep them coming. I know it's a lot, and sometimes it can feel overwhelming, but you just have to start looking at opportunities and checking out different websites. I think that's a great place to start. And it's okay if you don't know what you want to do yet, right? Or it's okay if you get into a position, research, whatever it is, internship or a volunteer position, and then later you decide, actually, I'm more interested in this other area. That's why you're here, is to figure that out. So don't be intimidated if you're not exactly sure what your focus is. But the more experience you have, the more clear of an idea I think you'll have about what your academic focus is. And Benjamin, I think, has raised his hand. So if you want to say a comment, that's fine too, or you can type it, either way. Oh, maybe
Yeah,
I'm
hi.
clear.
I
Yeah.
have a couple questions. One, I'm a senior and I'm thinking of probably looking for a research internship this fall or maybe in winter quarter. But I'm wondering, what is the time frame like? Like if I only have 2 quarters left, for instance, is that too short of a time?
Yeah, that's a great question. So it's never too late. I think that you can still have valuable experiences even if it's just for 1 quarter. I think it would be good to be clear about your timeline to graduation when you communicate with the lab that you're interested in contacting or the faculty person, because some positions they may want to keep you for a year. However, it may be really good timing because if you're interested in continuing as a paid employee in the lab after you graduate, that may be an opportunity. So in my PI's lab, we've had 2 students who recently graduated actually this last spring, who transitioned into laboratory assistant positions. And there's also a position called a junior specialist, which is a limited term appointment. And that is usually designed for someone who wants to take a year in between undergrad and graduate school and gain research experience. So you can only work for a certain number of months. It's limited, but you can have that on your CV and it can really strengthen your CV. So I don't think it's a problem at all. I think there's a lot of opportunities. But you may want to be clear about that when you contact that faculty person, just in case their expectations are different.
Okay, thank you. And then my other one was, you kind of mentioned sometimes you might have someone that you really think you do want to work with. Should you do anything differently when you contact that person?
I think with all your email contacts, you want them to be personal and you want to show that faculty person that you've done your homework, you know what their research is about. However, I think it would be worth saying to them that you are specifically interested in working for them because of their research of the paper, whatever it is that drew you to their lab, because it will show that this lab, this faculty person is your number one choice. And that may make a difference when they're looking at applications to know that you really, really want to work there. So, still keep it professional. You don't want to get too fan person about it, but you can definitely show excitement and interest and specify that that lab would be your ideal scenario. Okay, let's see here. And was that your last question, or did you have another question?
I think that's it. Thank you.
Oh, okay. So I see we've got a couple more here, and we have 1 minute. So I'm going to try to answer fast. If you have to go, feel free to leave, but we can also go over a minute or two. Are undergrad research positions happening right now? Yes, is the short answer. In our lab, in my PI's lab, we have a couple of undergrads who are currently doing field and lab work. However, of course, we're taking a lot of extra safety precautions on their behalf and also for the rest of the lab community. So there may be restrictions associated with that position, but yes, it is still possible. And what are some ways to stand out in an email? So I'm glad you mentioned it because there is going to be another informational session tomorrow night about how to write an email to a faculty member. So stay tuned because that question will be answered in detail tomorrow night. And then great, thanks Dee. Yeah, and feel free to email us, and there are also FAQs on our website. So thank you all for attending. Thanks for the great questions. And if you left with any clearer of an idea or any more motivation to get that email sent out, then I did my job. So good luck this quarter. I know it's weird, but congratulations for showing up. This is really above and beyond what a lot of students are even thinking about right now because it's so overwhelming. So you're already going above and beyond. So congratulations. And that's it. So thanks. And then I will